Okay, lots of clouds again today, and as well today I'll actually drop by the cell phone store to see what's the update in terms of the phone, huh? And with that in mind, what did I read today? It seems like one of the dominating news today was about drones shutting down airports again. What's going on today, huh? This one says, Munich Airport temporarily shut after drones reported in latest sightings in EU airspace. Authorities temporarily shut down Munich Airport overnight after several drones were seen in the area in the latest mysterious drone overflights in the airspace of European Union member countries. Germany's air traffic control restricted flights at the airport shortly after 10 p.m. and then halted them altogether. The airport said in a statement 17 flights were unable to take off, affecting almost 3,000 passengers, while 15 arriving flights were diverted to 3 other airports in Germany and 1 in Vienna, Austria. Flights in and out of the airport resumed at 5 a.m., said Stefan Bayer, a spokesperson for Germany's federal police at Munich Airport. I can't help to think about that Gatwick incident, if you guys remember, where they shut everything down because of an alleged drone, although in that case there was never any proof at all there was a drone. And in this case anyways, it doesn't seem like they're providing much details, if any, in regards to, as they say here, who's flying the drone and so forth. I'm surprised there isn't a bunch of videos and stuff coming out as well in terms of where these drones are supposedly flying, according to them anyways. It says the incident was the latest in a series of incidents of mysterious drone sightings over airports as well as other critical infrastructure sites in several European Union member countries. Drones were also spotted overnight in Belgium above military base. Now obviously in these type of stories, it's one of those, okay, who's behind this and so forth, and do you need to put more restrictions? But I'm still thinking in these cases, okay, how come you still don't have something to just deal with the situation in general, especially for this long, for example? Because obviously all those stuff that was implemented before isn't working. If they have to frantically shut everything down, try to scramble in terms of who's doing this and so forth, like they're completely in the dark. I mean, that's kind of bad in general if you think about it. Although not surprisingly, with a situation like this, people want more, I guess, regulations or rights per se to take down drones. And this one here says Germany should get power to shoot down drones, officials says, as Vladimir Putin denies involvement in airspace violations. So first they re-emphasize all the chaos that's going around in airports and so forth, and it says specifically here, it says a Markus Söder, the premier of Bavaria, has said our police must get the power to shoot down drones. He told German publication Bild, "We need sovereignty over our airspace." Federal police deployed helicopters and other means to try to track down the drones, but no signs of them could be found, a spokesperson for Germany's federal police said. I mean, that's kind of crazy again, where they don't really have any kind of system in place to take care of it. I mean, you're flying around these huge helicopters and all that. Why don't you just fly your own drone? I've shown so many times, especially if you think, for example, it's just some regular Joe, for example, flying it. It's so easy to locate them, and pretty quickly too. And the funny thing is, just in terms of that thought anyways, where they say, okay, we need more power to take down these drones, it's kind of your guys' fault for classifying everything as some huge manned aircraft, for example. I mean, ironically, in this case, I would imagine if there wasn't any of those over-the-top regulations and so forth, and they didn't try to classify it as a, quote, aircraft per se, like every single one of them, they would have just been able to deal with it, correct? So it's almost like a problem they created in general, if you think about it. I mean, imagine that for the road, where someone is saying, like a police officer, okay, we need rules to take down these RC cars. We can't do anything about it. And then they have these full, for example, size police cars trying to chase after. I mean, that's kind of like what it is, like when I'm thinking about it anyways. Because at this rate anyways, everyone's just gonna lose their rights in every single way, huh, when you think about it. And with that thought, actually, there was some news going around here in Canada in terms of losing rights, where people were talking about how there's this bill proposal that would allow the government to essentially restrict people's internet access for those that they deem are, let's just say, some kind of danger or some of that, or they're saying something that they don't really like, ultimately anyways. So apparently this thing's called Bill C-8, where they want to amend the Telecommunications Act, which would affect things like internet and phones and all that. And it says it's supposed to provide the Minister of Industry broad powers to address threats such as interference, manipulation, and disruption, so like a bad actor. But you could imagine, for example, what happens if somebody decides to use this power on people that they don't like in general. I mean, that's a real concern. So apparently this bill would allow the minister to issue secret orders to telecommunications providers to cut off people's phones and internet service to specific individuals or entities, which they'd refer to as specified persons if there are, quote, reasonable grounds to believe is necessary to protect the telecom system. And these orders must be kept confidential indefinitely with no requirement for notification to the affected parties. And they said providers, they face penalties if they do so, including fines up to $10 million for the first offense, rising to $15 million for companies, and up to $25,000 to $50,000 for individuals. Can you imagine that? I mean, you talk about that thought of government spying per se, that's essentially what this is, isn't it? If they have, quote, reasonable ground to believe certain people, they think anyways, are dangerous, they could secretly cut off their internet and so forth. Man, I can imagine the paranoia afterwards, because usually in various places when you're using the internet, it's really slow. So can you imagine one day it's really fast and it starts getting slow? The people will be wondering, uh-oh, am I being, for example, targeted in this way? I mean, this is crazy in my opinion overall with this law from the sounds of it. Because as proven over the past couple of years, so many times people like officials got things wrong and they targeted people, basically affecting their livelihoods and all that. So can you imagine in this case where they have this kind of broad power? To me, that's really dangerous to think about. If anything, it should be the other way around. People should have more access and availability to find out what the heck like whoever's elected is actually doing during the day and all that, or investigating all their ties with certain companies and so forth, being more transparent. I mean, it should be the other way around. They work for the people, correct?
Okay.
Hey, good.
That one's not having any luck. I'm just gonna give it to you back.
Okay. Can't figure out anything in terms of specific parts or anything?
It's the motherboard heats up a lot.
Heats up a lot?
Yeah,
okay.
When I change a couple of parts, I changed the main cable.
Yeah.
From downboard to main board, it heats up a lot. I think it's some short circuit in it.
Yeah.
It's probably not worth doing it.
Okay. Okay, update about this phone, I guess. From what I was told, the person said he tried to do various tests, and at times when the phone did boot up, he said the motherboard actually heated up extremely hot. So he thinks it's actually something related to the whole board in general, and usually that would mean replacing the whole thing, which would mean it's hundreds of dollars, for example. So it's not really worth it from a repair point of view. I don't know, to me, it's one of those things where it's one thing if you know exactly what's wrong with it, but if they don't know what's exactly wrong with it, it just makes you wonder. I was doing some research, and apparently this problem is widespread with these Samsung phones. And in particular, from what I'm reading, even from their own forums, people say this happened right when they did a firmware update, which kind of aligns when I started seeing problems actually. They updated with all these, for example, Android features like the Gemini and stuff. And I've noticed anyways, when I was running certain applications, it would constantly freeze at times, so I have to reboot it. So it's almost like it's being overworked. And then not surprisingly, I guess, a few weeks later, this happened. And the interesting thing is, again, I actually filmed the whole thing right as it happened because I had the camera running. So should I bring it to the official Samsung store? Because apparently they should give you a free diagnosis. For example, the phone just rebooting over and over, or all these documented examples of people saying the motherboard or whatever is just getting extremely hot because of a flawed update per se. And then afterwards, people suggested if they don't actually, let's just say, repair it on goodwill, then people email things like the CEO and so forth. So I was thinking maybe that's what I'll do. Try to bring it into the official Samsung store. There is one in the area, and see what they have to say, where if they don't honor it, then maybe afterwards I will, just for the heck of it, see if the CEO or whatever, like those emails, they actually work. Because the fact that I actually have it documented and so forth, and it's a known problem, as a company, you should, in my opinion anyways, make sure that problem is addressed. And if they don't, it makes it a little easier in terms of whose company's product I should buy next anyways, in terms of a phone and all that. So that's the situation currently anyways, but for now, I guess at least I have this Pixel phone and so forth that's not as good camera-wise as mentioned, but the functionality seems just as good just because of less bloatware and all that. So let's, I guess, play around with the camera a bit on the Pixel phone. I did figure out some of the settings anyways. It's not as good still. You don't have full manual control, but you kind of use what you have. Alright, see you guys later.